right, welcome back to Homework Hub with Miss Gore. Today we're going to be talking about our Unit 10 Day 3 homework. We're talking about our characteristics of graphing quadratic formulas. So the first question wants to know about the vertex of a function. So when I'm looking at the vertex of a function and I want to know, does the function open up or open down? What I'm going to be looking at is I'm going to be looking at this right here. I want to know the a value is -1. If I find that the a value is -1, what that tells me is that my parabola actually opens down and that my vertex will be at the very top, making it a maximum point. So my reason is that since the equation is in standard form, since the a value is less than 0, is what's going to tell me that this parabola opens down. Okay, question 2, I want to know the y-intercept of this function. So when I want to know the y-intercept in standard form, I look for the c value. My c value is 0, which then tells me that the point that the y-intercept, or where the graph crosses the y-axis, is going to be 0, 0. Question 3, find the coordinates of the vertex of the function. Well, if I want to know the coordinates of the vertex of the function, I could do this in 2 ways. One thing that I could do fairly easily is I could get this into vertex form. So in order to get it into vertex form, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. And remember that I'm going to be using the process of completing the square. So I'm going to include some blanks here. So I now have y minus 8, got a blank in there. And I know that this is going to be x minus 2 squared. I cut my b value in half. Then I square it to add these to both sides. So I can just kind of put those together right now, and I know that that is a -4. I'm going to move that to the other side. I end up with x minus 2 squared plus 4. Giving me the coordinates of my vertex are 2, 4. All right, if I want to know the equation of the axis of symmetry. So there's a couple of ways that I could do this, and one easy way to do this would be to get my y value isolated first. So I now have an x squared minus 7x plus 12 equals my y. And the equation for the axis of symmetry is x equals -b over 2a. So plugging those numbers in, I get 7 over 2 times 1. So my equation for the axis of symmetry is x equals 7/2. Number 5, I want to find the roots of the function algebraically. So if I want to find the roots of the function, what I want to do is I want to plug in a 0 for my y value. And you'll have a choice at this point. You could factor it if you want to. You could use quadratic formula if you want to. This actually is a factorable equation. I could factor this into 2x minus 1 times 2x plus 9. I'm going to then set both of those equations equal to 0. And with a little bit of work, I can move this 1 over, divide by 2. So one of my roots will be +1/2. I'm going to move my 9 over. I'm going to divide by 2, and my other root is going to be -9/2. Again, could have used a different form if you'd like to do that. Number 6, I think you could work that one on your own. Number 7, great question. Now, if I want to find the key characteristics algebraically of this function here. So what I want to do if I want to do this algebraically, okay, so one thing I could do is I can put it into all the different forms that I need, okay? So if I put it, let's say, in vertex form, so if I do y minus 7 plus a blank, x squared plus 8x plus my blank, I'm going to make this x plus 4 by cutting my v value in half and adding 16 to both sides, giving me y plus 9. My equation then, y equals x plus 4 squared minus 9. This tells me that my vertex is the point -4, -9. This also tells me, since my a value here is positive, that this will open up. I can also look at my standard form right here, and I know my y-intercept. My y-intercept there will be 0, 7. And the other things I need to find are my axis of symmetry. So I know my axis of symmetry is always the x value of my vertex. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 4. And the last thing I'm going to need to find are my roots. So in order to find my roots, I'm going to factor my equation. So x plus 7 times x plus 1, which then tells me that my roots are x equals -7 or x equals -1. So everything that I needed there was solved also algebraically. Hopefully that helped, and I will see you soon.